What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Happy Memorial Day. Today, we'll be taking a look over here at the Bitcoin price chart and the altcoin market, like the XRP price chart, as we saw some price action pop up over the weekend. After being stuck in this range for Bitcoin for 16 days, it finally decides to take a shot to the upside after washing machining both sides, even poking below the 100-day moving average in the middle of last week, only to go back and reclaim it. And then last night, even poking here above 28,300. So the question is, are we done? Are we moving back to the upside? XRP getting into the 48 cents. Are we moving to the upside? Are we done? Same for Ethereum. Well, what we'll do is we'll talk about the things that we've talked about the last couple of weeks, apply it to current times, and see if we can notice any differences or any optimistic signs that occurred with the move that happened last night for Bitcoin and the crypto market. Since April 5th, I've expressed that it seemed likely that we were working on an ABC correction to come out for Bitcoin, which was back in here discussing a short squeeze coming that would send the prices up, followed by a pullback, a 702 retracement, and then go on into a C leg. We've been watching this for the last 50 or so days, playing out very well. And we'll recap that again really quick. Bitcoin prediction there on April 5th. Volatile prediction in range. Fake break for Bitcoin price chart. And we'll play some of this really fast just to reiterate that point. And that's the exact retracement we saw over there when Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live. Retail euphoria back at the 702 retracement, then gets wrong-footed. And that even in this phase back over here that we're pointing to, right in here, what ends up happening in here is that this is an ABC correction that actually emerged right in here with a 702 Fibonacci retracement. So right in here for Bitcoin, having to kind of be cautious a little bit of false breakouts that could happen here to the upside as it's ranging here in these prices. Then if we see a false breakout that eventually pulls back in here, it'll be all about watching a retracement come back in here to complete an ABC, and then some time spent consolidating down in there, which at the time of that recording, we were there at about 28,500. We did end up getting that. We got the short squeeze, we got the pullback, we got the 702 retracement, and we got the C leg. I've been updating a Twitter thread over here on Twitter as things have continued to progress along up until current times right now. But the thing that was really interesting about Bitcoin was that it held right here. Typically, when we crack through these, if we're going to go lower, this is our capitulation. This is our moment to get going. 10 days ago, I put out a video, in-depth XRP and Bitcoin correction review, where we're taking a look at Elliott waves, in which, while the concept of all of this has been an ABC correction, in that video, we discussed zigzag corrections or zigzag ABCs, in which there are waves of near equal length, or at least waves A and C tend towards equality in length, in which we were wave counting the waves, measuring the length of each wave, and recognizing in a zigzag ABC of waves of equal length, it had satisfied those rules of the minimum distance mandatory for an ABC correction to have already occurred. So while we did bounce off of both green boxes and then did fall $4,300, we were within $500 of the green box. We did already meet the ABC minimum requirements for a completed ABC correction. I had stated in previous videos, if we got above 27,500, especially if we get here above 28,300, I would be intrigued with the market. I'm definitely intrigued by what's happening in here, but still kind of have those caution glasses on, and I'll show you the reasons why. The first reason I'm optimistic is just what we exactly talked about in that video from 10 days ago. Typically, once we break the support, this is our capitulation. There it goes. We're plunging. That's where the big main event happens. Afterwards, the dust settles, and then we're just accumulating afterwards. That was one of the events that sparked the creation of this video, was the fact that we did stop. Typically, we're going to just plow through and keep going, and then once we find that bottom, that's it. That is how these distribution events happen for Bitcoin. And then once that bottom's found, yeah, I can meander a little bit lower, but for the most part, the big capitulation, the big actual move happens on the break of the support. So support breaks, we capitulate, we go sideways. Now we're catching a little bit of a pop to the upside. I would consider that to be pretty optimistic, that typically in capitulations of the C leg of a correction, the dramatic event happens in this time period. We had that, and we did satisfy minimum requirements for an ABC by having waves of equal length. So it does seem like the capitulative moment of the C leg is over. Now we're just in like that drawn out period of when can we start turning back to the upside. And so as we pop right here, there's a couple of concerns I do have that I'll show you. And we'll actually bounce back and forth between XRP as we discuss this topic. Just that typically we're going to work this out a little bit longer before we start moving to the upside. After the capitulation phase, as we try working out a bottom like this, you can see this if I just kind of compress this a lot smaller so you can kind of see this. These are phases that can happen in here before we still have to come back down and still work these lows out for a longer period of time. This would just be kind of a short squeeze that has happened here. What would be the event that would trigger a bunch of wrong footing? Well, we just got the news throughout the weekend of the debt ceiling. Every retailer trader knows I'm supposed to go long when the debt ceiling issue happens because the printer is going to turn back on. It's just the logical progressive steps of thought that a retail trader goes down. But typically, we're going to spend more time working these things out before we can start moving up. And that's also the case from 2020 as well, is that we're typically going to work these things out for some time before we can start really rocking and rolling. So I would say the thing that has me optimistic is that we're definitely beyond our capitulation phase. That phase has passed us. No matter how we look at it, we've gone past the capitulation phase. It's just that we're still kind of in this accumulation happening in here. So while I'd love to be like, hey guys, yeah, we're beyond all this. We've done enough accumulating, and we're way over here now, and we're starting to work our way up, and we're about to go in for the big breakout into new heights. I think that day will eventually come. These are ABC corrections. ABC corrections are merely corrections in a bull trend. But I definitely have to show you just some of these concerns I have in here to say, I don't know if we're ready to start plowing our way to the upside with these moves. I would say what has happened here, it definitely takes away a lot of my concern on a capitulative move happening, that it does validate the ideas we had 10 days ago about saying that we're beyond capitulation. I think that confirmed it. We're beyond capitulation, but it just doesn't eliminate the fact that we could still keep working this range out for a longer period of time, and that's typically what we do. In 2020, we didn't go set a new low. In 2021, we did off of something like this. So I definitely think we're beyond the capitulation phase. Now it's the complicated accumulation. And so something else that leads me in that of being like, I don't think we're quite ready just yet is just looking over at XRP in here. This is the classic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4. And that just happens to be where we're sitting at right now, right as Bitcoin pulls out of one of these things, which is what we typically see happen in here before there's still kind of a pullback that comes in here. And that you guys know, we talk about this all the time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4. That's the normal structure of ABC corrective waves. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4. Then you go on for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again. That's where we are. We're at 4, just like you typically do. And when you look at how XRP behaved back last time, that's also what it did. It got back to wave 4 and then proceeded for another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Also, one thing about XRP yesterday is we know it. When XRP gets moving, it gets moving by itself, right? It'll just start flying and going, and it's a big move, and it's all exciting. There was nothing about this move that happened independently, right? The whole market was moving up the similar amount, 3, 4, 5%. Bitcoin moving up 3, 4%. This was just a whole broader market shift up a little bit higher together. There was no breakout happening here that was independent for XRP. There was nothing unique happening for XRP right here. It was totally just what the rest of the market was doing at the exact same time. And we've reached this like technical resistance level that is your typical technical resistance level, and was also the technical resistance level last time for XRP in this spring phase of Wyckoff accumulation. We know that's how things will play out for XRP. We've seen it before where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to wave 4. Then you get your final flush. And of course, we've seen that multiple times back in 2020 with the 22.5-cent time period to get that final flush. And then we also had that back in 2020 and 2021 after the SEC lawsuit. Definitely not saying of this magnitude. This was a different animal. But definitely at this point right now, this is not a breakout for XRP. This is your standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back to wave 4 that we always see happen. So current levels right now getting above, 49.50 cents. That's the first real level of being like, hey, we're getting a bigger move. So get above 50 cents, then you start saying, well, technically speaking, we've kind of started eliminating some of these things. We're not doing our typical counts that we typically do anymore. Now we're starting to deviate from them. That would be the first optimistic sign. But as of right now, this is a area where a lot of people who are professionals will sell. Sell here, stop higher. That's it. Because essentially you're going to get the invalidation of that not too much higher. So the risk to reward is higher here. So these things are good that we've seen the capitulation appear to have completed for Bitcoin, but it just doesn't mean we aren't done kind of meandering around in here for quite some time. And we typically do see these types of little breaks if we get to this phase and then still have to reaccumulate down here again. And as we saw in 2021, not quite as friendly, still revisiting those lows once again. So it appears to me that we have completed capitulation of an ABC. Now we're just in accumulation, but our range is large. And without further price rising, going significantly higher than where we're at right now, these are just the cautions to be at, for me at least. And especially since I have the confluence of that happening with XRP reaching that fourth wave, as we usually do, and as we did back in 2016 and in 2017. And so while I'm intrigued by the price action, because it appears that capitulation has completed for Bitcoin, it doesn't appear we're out of the woods just yet. You could see that over here on XRP. You could see that over here on Bitcoin, that typically we have these types of moves, but we still just keep accumulating before things can then eventually start working their way up. So nice to see, but still waiting for just a little bit more to say we're out of the woods. Because usually after these ABCs, once we get past capitulation, this is the typical thing that ends up happening in here. And that's what happened in both previous times, is that accumulation still kept going. But the good news is in both times, once the support breaks, capitulation has passed us by. It appears we are beyond it. But as you can clearly see, it's hard to sit there and scream, it's up only from here, when this is typically the behavior that happens after the capitulation phase, and then accumulation still continues on. So even if this thing does dip a little bit lower and it does hit that green box, it's still like we're way beyond capitulation. It's still just in accumulation. So my thoughts are we are in accumulation phase at this point. I've definitely had my concerns of capitulation coming, thinking to myself, well, my box gets shattered. Well, it looks stupid. But now at this point, my thoughts are we're beyond capitulation. If we're going to end up hitting these prices, and if we're going to end up closing the gap down in here of this breakout that took place back in March, really, this is the only way we're going to end up getting there. So the question will be, how long do we hang out up here? How long do we stall out up here? And then when this thing does kind of go down and pull back again, how deep does that end up going? And once we find kind of that capitulation of this next move, once we finally pull back from here, should we pull back, which I think we will, but that'll be the move to keep the eyes on, to say that's it. So great news is it appears we're in accumulation for Bitcoin. And I will admit, I'm not a huge fan of just pulling fractals out from wherever we want to and saying, hey, we're going to apply this here because this kind of looks like this. And this is what it kind of looks like. So we're going to use this. This has been the idea for the last 2 months. So we applied a certain method, had a thesis of the market. It's played out like that up until this point. We watched the short squeeze come. We watched the pullback. We watched the 702 retracement, and then we broke the support. Now we're watching this phase happening in here. The curveball has been we've held really high. And now it's whether or not when we pull back one more time, should we do so, do we continue to hold the lows and keep that accumulation going, or behave more like 2021 and it just barely goes and closes the gap? Either way, I'm feeling really optimistic. It feels like we're just absolutely just building a base down in here. I think all those 10 to 12 Kers are going to be sorely disappointed once again. But while it's always exciting to see green action happen over here in the cryptocurrency market, I did want to show you the things that are still on my radar that still have me looking at the market with a skeptical eye of that we're breaking out right now or going up much higher currently at this moment when it comes to the Elliott waves over here on XRP, and how that is what we typically do see. And when it comes to Bitcoin, that even once we have started accumulation, that it just wasn't quite time to get moving significantly to the upside just yet. It was an optimistic sign, but it didn't mean we were going to get rocking just yet. And so these are the things that I currently see right now, and I just wanted to share them with you. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. Again, today is Memorial Day here in the United States. It's the day that we honor those who have served in the United States military and lost their life in doing so. I do realize not everybody is from the United States, but of course, the military is important for me because it's what protects my country. And I do get it that a lot of people with a lot of controversy on whatever wars that end up having to be served in. But in the end, when these women and men join the military, they're there to protect, to serve, and to do whatever the call of duty asks them to do. And without them, this country wouldn't be as safe as it is. And so, well, I can't sit here and thank all the fallen soldiers as they are gone. I'm sure there are families who listen to this who have had somebody in their family or close friends that have lost somebody. And I know that's a tremendous sacrifice for you as well. So I pay my respect today and to all those who are current and former serving United States military. And being that it is Memorial Day, it is an observed holiday here in the United States, which means the stock market is closed today. And it means there's a lot of barbecue that happens today. I have barbecued every day this weekend. On Friday, I cooked chicken wings. Saturday, I did steak. And yesterday, I did burgers. I still haven't decided what I'm doing today. But as I mentioned over here on Twitter, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't remind you over here on YouTube. If you have guests over this Memorial Day weekend and you are cooking them steaks, and if they ask for you to cook their steak well done, you politely yet firmly ask that guest to leave. But all right, that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope that you've had a great weekend. Rumor has it the debt deal has been done, or the debt ceiling deal has been done. I just need to sign on the dotted line. We'll see how the cryptocurrency market reacts when markets open tomorrow. I guess they open later tonight, right? When futures open, we'll see how the Bitcoin price chart reacts. We'll see how the XRP price chart reacts, and just how the whole crypto market does. But otherwise, till then, I'll catch you soon. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.